Now, just from reading the title, you're probably wondering where I'm going with this. How can Destiny 2 feel like Anthem 2.0 or Anthem at all? After all, Anthem released in one of the worst states a AAA title has seen in a long time. There were bugs, issues, endgame problems. There was a bunch of things that deterred people from playing Anthem long term. Well, it's all happening right now in Destiny. And in my opinion, it might be happening worse than Anthem. Even if you don't look at the technical state, or the gameplay loops, or the reward structures, or the rampant cheating, the reason I say that Destiny is like Anthem right now is because of the community. And do you want to know the depressing reason why I know this? Is because this video with the negative clickbaity title is probably gonna blow up. More than a well thought out review, an exotic review, a funny video showcasing all the cool stuff you can do in Destiny, no one cares. There are a few different camps in Destiny right now that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into the technical state and the cheating and all these different things. But this game feels like Anthem because of the way I see the community reacting. There is camp, I don't like Destiny, I hate it, I'm pissed, and they want to just see the negativity. They want to see the game die. They want to feed into it and say, ha, told you, Destiny 2 is dead, it sucks, it's always sucked. See, I was right. And that was the same with Anthem. People just wanted to hate from the very start. They wanted to hate on the game, they wanted to say, see, it sucks, I told you so. And I feel like that is happening a lot in Destiny. And I feel like there is another camp of players where they're frustrated with the game. Maybe they love it. Maybe they loved it. But they're frustrated with the state of the game. They feel like there's nothing to do. They feel like the content is falling apart underneath their feet. And they want to hate on the game as well. And I would say that this is the mass majority of players. If you go on Reddit at any given point, the players that are posting on the Destiny Reddit aren't outside looking in haters just saying, ha, this game sucks. They are dedicated players with hundreds of hours that are frustrated with the seemingly obvious issues that the game has from time to time, and the interesting ways that Bungie decides to try and fix them. Now, there's another camp, and this one is very interesting to me, but you saw this with Anthem as well, and that is the dreamers. That is the people that have hope, or the people that are just blissfully ignorant to all of it. They are having fun with the game, they are enjoying the game, they just want to play and don't really care. And when a new quest line drops, like The Lie, they are there and excited. They are there and want to experience it and enjoy it. But even then, right now, I feel like Destiny and Bungie are failing at that and supporting those people as well. So let's talk about the game, let's talk about the problems, and hopefully Destiny can turn it around. Looking at the connections and disconnects in this game, I've been very frustrated this entire season. Now, they made a change with Steam to help reduce DDoSing. To help reduce the amount of people that can DDoS someone, they moved the game to Steam, and the hope was that in things like trials and competitive games, people couldn't get DDoSed because it was actually a huge problem in the comp community. If you didn't use a VPN in Destiny 2, if you were somewhat well known in the comp community, you couldn't play games without a VPN because there were notorious cheaters doing recoveries that would just boot you offline. Unfortunately, even though our IPs are masked and it's much, much harder to DDoS someone, at least on PC, DDoSing is still happening a lot on console. True Vanguard has been DDoSed multiple times during trials, and I understand that he is a streamer or YouTuber, and he's got a bit of a target on his head to people like this. But there are also multiple recovery services out there that you pay money to get the rewards from Trials of Osiris, and they are knocking people offline who aren't famous YouTubers and streamers. They're just knocking people offline so they can get easy wins, get the rewards, get paid, and get the hell out of there. Now, obviously, this needs to be fixed. But the saddest thing is even though on Steam, our IPs are masked and they've made a fix towards this, The disconnect issues with things like beaver errors are insanity. Now, in a game mode like Trials of Osiris, where you can't lose, getting a disconnect equals a loss, and it is a big blow to your time commitment. And the amount of times I've been beaver errored in this season, probably 10 times the amount of times I've been disconnected in Destiny 2 and Destiny 1's history combined. I would say that even in a weekly period, I have a magnitude of 2 to 3 to even 4 times the amount of error codes that I ever saw in all the time previous. The amount of error codes are so prevalent, not even just in myself, but in the people that I play with. I tried to do a Trials card last weekend that finally made me snap because within a 1 hour period, 4 games were lost due to one of us just getting disconnected and not being able to play and getting that lost on our card. This is happening in public events, it is happening in strikes, it is happening in raids, it is happening in PvP. Many activities don't really allow you to get disconnected. If you're in the middle of a raid encounter, too bad. You're not joining back, you're not getting revived. There are activities that can be completely ruined by someone getting disconnected, and it is happening so frequently. I've tried having an open NAT type, I've tried port forwarding, many people in this community have done everything in their power to stop this, and the technical state of this is unacceptable. And honestly, worse than Anthem. I have lost and left more games because of these technical issues than I ever did getting disconnected from Anthem. So that's pretty scary to me, I think. Now, while I'm on the roll with losses and talking about Trials, cheating is rampant on PC. Maybe not so much on console. I don't even know if it's possible on console, but it is rampant on PC, especially in the higher skill-based matchmaking brackets, as well as things like Trials of Osiris. People are doing paid recovery services and cheating. And the amount of people out there that are just cheating in quick play to just have fun with it, I suppose. Apparently it's fun cheating and having unlimited revives and having 100% sniper accuracy because a robot is doing it for you. It's insane. Now, I've already done a bunch of videos on cheating, so I don't want to talk more than just a minute here. Cheating sucks. It's bad. They need to fix it. Let's talk about some endgame stuff. Let's talk about some rewards. Bungie is sunsetting a bunch of different weapons and gear. Now, I personally don't mind because there's nothing in this game that is interesting to chase right now. I think that is a major problem in itself. The fact that they need to take away our rewards that we put a lot of time and effort into so that we can chase other stuff is a little unfortunate. I've got 500 vault spaces, and I've got a bunch of different items in there that I've collected over the years. And so I understand why people are so upset that things are getting sunset. But unfortunately, if they don't do it, there is nothing they can really add to the game right now that is interesting. Unless they add power creep of some sort, where they add drastically better gear, there is nothing that they can make in this current climate that has any meaning. The power level system is also a pretty archaic, pretty average, pretty uninteresting mechanic. I don't think that the power system has ever really been good, and it's more a system of I feel less weak than I feel more powerful. It is a number to chase, and we keep having to chase it, but it just feels like a chore at this point. So we're taking away much of the gear that people have been hunting for and working for, and it all plays into this power system that I think is pretty trash. As an endgame system, I feel like it is very uninspired, and I honestly hope that they lose it in the near future, because right now, getting power levels doesn't feel interesting, and it feels like one of these systems that's just there to extend playtime versus have value. Now, the interesting thing about this is, with Anthem, they had a very similar problem. Unfortunately, they ran into it much, much sooner. In Anthem, within a couple of weeks, I had an endgame build that could do the majority of content and do it damn well. As long as you had the pieces of the puzzle, even if they didn't have the best rolls, you were able to do the normal content, do the endgame content on the regular difficulties. But they ran into almost the same issue that I'm seeing in Destiny. There is harder difficulties, like the Grandmaster difficulty, but there's no real reason to do it other than to say, hey, I beat it. Anthem launched in a state where even the hardest difficulty, that was punishingly difficult and took 5 to 6 times the amount of DPS to complete, didn't really give you better rewards than the other stuff. You could just smash through the other content, have a lot chiller, easier time, and get a similar, if not more, amount of rewards. Things like the Grandmaster content in Destiny is there. I understand that there are some people that want to interact with it, but the incentive to do hard content in Destiny is very limited. Many of the guns from things like the Raid are not that good, or they are not the best in slot, and so it limits people's reason or want or urge to go in and do it. Some of the master content that Bungie has created is the endgame raids, and a lot of people never even touch it, and I don't blame them. There's no real replayability once you know how to beat it, and if you get a couple of the good rewards. There's no long-term incremental increases to your character, such as crit chance increases or attack speed. You never get stronger, really, from finding more gear, other than reducing a few cooldowns here and there. What this means is, just like Anthem, as long as you have some of the core pieces, maybe an exotic or a couple pieces of gear and guns that are decently rolled, you can probably beat everything in the game. But there's no real way to beat it faster. Now, execution obviously is good, but in the current state of Destiny, many of the weapons that people use in PvE are the same. You can't make Mountaintop stronger. You can't make an exotic like the Anarchy stronger. And so you can get better at completing content and faster at completing content, but you can't really get stronger other than cooldowns. And that is an interesting thing, because in a game like this, with all this loot, does it really matter? I can't go smash out a raid in 15 minutes instead of an hour because I'm stronger like I could with the Division. In the Division, my character from the start of doing the raid to the end was so much better that we were not only able to execute it better, but our damage numbers were so much higher that we could one phase and shred bosses completely different than when we first attempted it. That doesn't really happen in Destiny. Yes, your power level does go up, but once you hit the max power level, there is no other way to progress your character. And so when you're taking away our guns and gear that might have some sentiment, unfortunately, it feels like all of my efforts are wasted in this game most of the time. And if gear isn't going to make me necessarily stronger long term, they are collection pieces and they are tools to beat content. My Mountaintop is the same as your Mountaintop. That is a tool I can use, and maybe it's the best for some activities, and maybe it's worse in others. But essentially, as Guardians, we all kind of just have the same tools. And so what that means is, if that is the gameplay, it's more like a Halo. It's more like a campaign-based game where, yes, we have loot, and yes, we have gear, but it's closer to something like God of War, where you collect these pieces of gear and they do get stronger, but even the random rolls on it don't make that much of an impact. And so if you're going to go that route, and we can't chase better gear and get stronger, you need to give us activities to complete with the tools we have. And that is the biggest crisis I'm seeing right now in Destiny. We're getting public event type stuff, and our toolkit is so amazing. We've got all these amazing tools to complete epic raids, epic dungeons, secret missions with puzzles and all these different things, but they just don't exist in game. We keep getting these horde mode light activities that are mind-numbingly easy, and we've got all the tools in the book to deal with it. We can beat these things with subpar loadouts most of the time. And I feel like there's a major lack of awesome content to play. If you're going to be going the Halo or God of War route where we've all got these similar samey tools, then you need to make the experiences that we're using them in memorable and amazing. And I feel like that's not happening right now in Destiny. In Anthem, we had a lot of tools and nowhere to use them. There was no endgame chase or crazy feats to accomplish. Now, I understand that the game needs to have some sort of casual audience, and things like strikes are there. There are activities that I think anyone can complete, and there's match-made things like the Menagerie that I think were absolutely awesome. But right now, it feels like we've got all these powerful things and nothing cool to do with them. So to end the video, I wanted to circle back to a couple different things that happened this season, as well as just the technical state of the game, because it is struggling right now. And I wanted to start off with Guardian Games. Guardian Games was Bounty Farm Simulator. We've given a lot of feedback saying that we don't like that content, and they hammered us with it. Repetitive bounty type content where you have to just do it over and over and over again. Then they came out with the Fell Winter's Lie quest, and the first step was to do 9 million repetitive activities as a community to progress it. And that feels pretty boring. Pretty brutal, not very inspired. But then, with the Lie quest, it was bugged. It was bugged. You couldn't even go into the building you needed to complete the quest. And then, on the inside, instead of an epic secret mission, an epic battle to get this cool shotgun, we essentially got a cutscene. Now, lore is important, and the story of the game is very important, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't at least enjoy the story that was being told. But a similar thing happened with Bastion, and a similar thing happened with the Devil's Ruin. These quests have community components, which are definitely cool, but you can't just grind through the quest by yourself. Or it's a quest where you're just being told a story. And I feel like these quests, for the past 3 of them, have all been a pretty big letdown. Now, when you compare them to something like the Xenophage, which came out with Shadowkeep, there was an interesting boss with interesting mechanics, and there was multiple steps to this quest and puzzles to solve, and it felt like I was on a journey. For the past few exotics and legendary pieces of gear, it feels like I was just being given them. And literally, in the case of Fellwinter's Lie, you didn't even have to commit anything to the quest. If you look at the puzzle event for the Bastion, you didn't really have to help if you didn't want to, and at the end of it, bam, you got an exotic. And I'm getting kind of tired of that. But as I said before, the quest was bugged. The quest didn't work. They had to go and fix it. Now that's unfortunate, but my God, has the technical state of this game fallen apart. Now I'm going to play this clip a few times while I kind of talk over it, but the server connections are peer-to-peer. I don't know all the jargon, the lingo. I don't know everything that goes in the Destiny servers, but they are atrocious, and they've been bad for a long time. And it really takes away from any of the PvP, and it's hard to take it seriously when stuff like this happens. There is such desync that this guy literally materializes and shoots me. And then he's able to tag me again. And so competitively, how in the world can you react to this? Now, this guy's not cheating. He came into the stream later and said, well, that's not what I saw. And he actually clipped it for me and showed me. There is no suspect thing going on here other than the servers are trash. The peer-to-peer connections are trash. And this happens all the time. Now, this is in Rumble, where there is strict skill-based matchmaking that obviously is going to impact things. Maybe this guy is in another country. I don't know. Maybe he lives down the street. I've got no clue where he's from. But unfortunately, this is what many players are dealing with. And it doesn't really matter your skill bracket. This shit happens even in the connection-based stuff. But PvP is plagued by bad connections, netcode. I don't know all the stuff that goes into it once again, but this isn't fun to play against. These connections cause a lot of problems. Aim assist and bullet magnetism aren't functioning right when what you're aiming at is not what's actually happening on the servers. You know, this guy, on his screen, he's around the corner, he can see me, he's shooting. But on my screen, I can't even see him yet before he's already rattled off a shot at me. Boys, you're throwing a grenade, you think you're gonna tag that guy behind cover? Not on his screen. You're going for that melee, and you lunge past him? No. He wasn't actually there. How was he shooting me around a corner? Because on his screen, that's where I am. Now, stuff like this has been in the game for a long time. That doesn't mean it's okay, but whenever the player base drops down, you notice it more and more. And right now, the player base is dropped down. People are bored. There's not anything to really do. I understand that a little bit, but come on. This is not really okay. But another thing that I've noticed recently, and I don't know what is causing it, it could be NVIDIA drivers, it could be multiple things, but I've got a beastie PC, right? This is my career. I've got a top-of-the-line, 2080 Ti, like I've got a beast. And in the past little while, this game has been running terribly. I used to be able to play 1440p, 165 frames all day of the week, even on some kind of medium settings, while streaming, while recording. And then it dropped down to 144. And then it dropped down to 120. And recently, I can't even play at 1440p without having problems. And maybe that's my issue, but people in chat are saying the same thing. I dropped to 1080p 165, and then 1080p 144, and then 1080p 120, and I'm still having issues, and I'm still getting frame drops on maps that I used to be able to swimmingly, easily, beautifully play at 1440p 165 frames all day long. How does that happen? There's no way it's my PC alone. There's no way, because when I ever, I question people, I'm like, are other people seeing this? I see a lot of people that agree. Now on console, I'm not sure if your technical state has changed. I don't know if your frames have been going below 30 FPS, but at this point, Destiny is not running properly, it seems. So I'm getting frustrated, boys. And I feel like right now, with all these problems, with the community sentiment, it's like I'm reliving Anthem. I hope for change. I hope for things to improve. But right now, there's just so much going on that makes me feel like, boys, this is a AAA studio. Figure it out. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.